They owe someone an obligation which causes them so much pain, and you are caught in the middle of this web simply because you love them. This responsibility feels like a duty that carries the weight of something they cannot easily walk away from. But underneath it all, it feels so heavy, like a chain they have learned to call normal. They have an obligation to someone. That kind of obligation that neither brings peace nor builds them. The kind that drains them slowly, quietly, in ways they don't even admit. It leaves marks that you cannot see at first. Emotional bruises, mental exhaustion, a constant irritation that never fully goes away. Still, they stay tied to this responsibility. Some obligations are not chosen with the heart. They are formed through pressure, through history, through guilt, or through fear. They become a responsibility that feels too complicated to escape. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, you appear. You were not a part of that story. You did not create that bond. But now, somehow you are caught in it. Like stepping into a web you did not see at first. In the beginning, it felt light. It felt like connection, like understanding, like something real. You saw part of them that others didn't. You felt a closeness that seemed genuine. But the deeper you moved in, the more you began to feel it. You began to feel the tension and the hesitation, the invisible pull that would take them away from you without warning. Because no matter how much they are connected to you, there was always something else pulling them. Something unfinished, something unresolved, something they were still tied to. Slowly, in small moments, were things that didn't make sense. In the way they would be present one day and distant the next. In the way their energy shifted without explanation. You started to feel the weight of something that did not belong to you. They don't trap you suddenly. They hold you little by little, thread by thread, until you realize you are stuck in something you were never a part of. Because their obligation is not just theirs, it spills over. The spillover effect reaches into your space, your emotions. It creates confusion where there should be clarity. The hardest part is that you can feel that what you share with them is real, but you can also feel that something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. That something is in the way. That something is not free. That something carries scars from that obligation. You can see it in the way they react, the way certain topics make them shut down, the way they become guarded without warning, the way irritation sits just beneath the surface, even in calm moments. It is not always about you, but it affects you so much. Because when someone is tied to pain, they do not always know how to separate it from the people around them. They carry it into every interaction. They project it without meaning to. They protect themselves in ways they can hurt others. And now you are close enough to feel all of that. There is a quiet truth here that cannot be ignored because they are not fully available. Not because they don't feel something for you, but because part of them is still bound to something that drains them. Something they have not released. Something they may not even know how to release. And this is where it all begins. because you were not placed in this situation to become another weight that they carry. You were not meant to be another person who gets tangled in their unresolved ties. You were meant to see clearly, to feel deeply, yes, but also to recognize when something is not aligned. There is a difference between love and entanglement. Love feels open, even when it is deep. It feels like it can breathe. But this, it feels tight, restricted, like something always has to be walked around, hidden, explained, or delayed. And that is not your natural state. You were not created to fit into complicated spaces that require you to shrink yourself, your silence your intuition, or ignore what you feel. Yet, here you are trying to understand it, trying to be patient, trying to make sense of something that keeps pulling you in and pushing you away at the same time. But the truth is never confusing. It only feels that way when emotions are involved. You are dealing with something that is hurting them, something that has left them scarred, irritated, and emotionally drained. And instead of stepping away from it, they are still holding on to it, which means they cannot fully hold you. That is the part that matters, because no matter how strong the connection feels, no matter how real the moments are, no matter how much they may care, you cannot build something stable on top of something unstable. It will always shake. It will always feel uncertain. It will always leave you questioning where you stand. And that is not where you are meant to live. You are not here to compete with someone else's obligation. You are not here to prove that you are worth choosing. You are not here to heal wounds they are still choosing to stay in. That is not your role. And the moment you begin to understand that, something in you will change. You will stop trying to fix what is not yours. You will stop absorbing pain that does not belong to you, because that is what you have been doing from the very beginning. You will stop making space for confusion, and instead you will begin to see clearly without distortion. You see that their situation is not something you can change. You see that their ties are not something you can break. You see that their healing is not something you can force. And most importantly, you see that your peace should not be sacrificed in the process. Because there is a cost to staying in webs like this. It slowly drains your energy. It slowly dims your clarity. It slowly makes you question yourself in ways you never did before. And by the time you realize it fully, you have already given more of yourself than you intended to. But you are not stuck. You are not stuck. They may be used to carrying obligations that feel permanent. They may be used to staying in situations that hurt them, but you are not bound by the same pattern. You can step back. You can detach. You can choose yourself without needing permission. And when you do that, everything becomes clearer. Their pain becomes theirs again. Their responsibility returns to them. Their situation becomes something you can see from a distance instead of something you are trapped inside. And that distance brings truth. It shows you that what you felt was real, but it was never free. It was entangled. And once you see that, you stop holding on to what could be. You start accepting what is. They are tied to something that hurts them. And until they choose to release it, it will continue to affect everything in their life, including you.